My parents gave me up at 13, and my wealthy uncle took me in. 15 years later, my mother arrived at his will reading, expecting to receive millions, until I spoke. Her smile disappeared, the room fell silent, and even the lawyer looked unsettled. His hand shook slightly as he reached for the sealed envelope labeled "to be opened only in the presence of Laura Bennett." My mother's perfectly manicured nails tapped against the mahogany conference table. 4 taps, pause, 4 taps. The same anxious habit she had throughout my childhood. She clearly believed she was about to inherit a large fortune. I watched her eyes follow Mr. Collins's every move, like someone tracking something valuable, and I felt a knot form in my stomach because I knew what was about to happen. She didn't even realize I was in the room. She had looked in my direction twice when she walked in 20 minutes earlier, leaving behind the scent of Chanel No. 5 and my father's quiet, reluctant steps. But she didn't recognize me. There was no reason she would. The last time Laura Bennett truly saw me, I was 13, much thinner, and standing in the driveway of our rented split-level home in Bakersfield, crying. That was 15 years ago. "Miss Bennett, Mr. Collins began, his tone carrying the polished calm of an attorney used to delivering difficult information to confident clients. "Before we begin reading Richard Hale's last will and testament, I need to confirm a few details." My mother straightened, adjusting her black Armani suit.
"They signed the papers. This is your home now. They might change their minds," I had said quietly. He set the newspaper aside and looked at me with sharp gray eyes that missed very little. "They won't," he replied. Not unkindly, just stating a fact. "And even if they did, I wouldn't allow them to take you back. You're safe here. Do you understand?" I nodded, not fully convinced at the time, but he was right. My parents never called, never wrote, and never returned. On my 14th birthday, Richard took me to Morton's Steakhouse and told me to order anything I wanted. We didn't discuss my parents. Instead, we talked about whether I should take AP Chemistry or stay in honors, whether the Lakers had a chance at the playoffs, and which colleges I might consider visiting the following year. Normal topics, things parents usually discuss. For the first time, someone was consistently present. He attended every parent-teacher meeting, learned to prepare my favorite meals when the housekeeper was off on weekends, and taught me how to drive in his Mercedes. He remained patient, even after I hit the curb twice. After my first heartbreak, he placed a hand on my shoulder and said, "Her loss," with such certainty that I almost believed it. When I was accepted into Stanford, he cried. He genuinely cried. I had never seen my father show that kind of emotion, not even when his own mother passed away.
My father finally spoke. "There must be some mistake." "There isn't," I replied. Everyone turned toward me again. I took a folder out of my bag, one of several Richard had left behind, all carefully arranged. Over the past 2 weeks, I had reviewed them with my attorney, Sarah Kensington, who was seated quietly in the corner taking notes. "Uncle Richard was very detailed," I said, opening the folder. "He kept every record related to my guardianship, including the original petition you both signed." I placed a document on the table. My mother's hand trembled slightly as she picked it up. "We, Laura Marie Bennett, and Robert James Bennett," I recited from memory, "do hereby permanently and irrevocably transfer all parental rights, responsibilities, and custody of our minor son, Evan Marcus Bennett, to Richard Arthur Hale. We acknowledge this transfer is voluntary, permanent, and in the best interest of the child. We further state that we do not wish to be contacted by the child or his guardian, except in cases of medical emergency or financial necessity." My mother's lips moved silently as she read. "You signed it on August 19th, 2010, I continued. Dad signed 2 hours later after his warehouse shift. It was notarized by Jennifer Wu at the Bank of America on Chester Avenue. She still works there. I contacted her last week to confirm. She remembered you because you repeatedly asked whether this meant you wouldn't be responsible for college expenses." The silence in the room was complete.
"That's taken out of context," my mother said quietly. "Is it?" I took out another document. "This is the statement you gave to the family court judge, Margaret Alvarez, during the guardianship hearing. Would you like me to read the relevant part?" She didn't answer, so I continued.
Evan, do you consent? I nodded. Mr. Collins pressed play on a small recorder. Richard's voice filled the room, steady and familiar, the tone I had heard daily for 15 years and would not hear again. Laura, if you're hearing this, it means you decided to attend. I wasn't certain you would, not out of concern, but because the possibility of money might bring you here. My mother reacted slightly. I want you to understand something. When Evan came to live with me, I had no experience raising a child. I wasn't sure I would succeed. But I saw a 13-year-old who was afraid, abandoned, and constantly apologizing for existing. And I asked myself, what kind of person walks away from their own child? I felt my throat tighten. I spent 15 years giving him what you did not: stability, education, and consistency.